The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Should your Canucks trade with the New York Rangers and bring Mark Messier home? More on that in a couple of minutes.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks and also a Canucks writer with a Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into the episode, we got to thank you for tuning in because we're nothing without the fans, and we're also not here without those sponsors, baby. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Go visit FanDuel.com to get started. The New York Rangers, last year's President's Trophy winners, they seem to be in a state of flux right now, okay? Even though they beat your Vancouver Canucks. I don't know if they won a game since. They have lost 3 games in a row, and it seems like, according to reports, there are multiple guys on the trading block. One of those players we mentioned as a potential target for the Canucks during the offseason. So let's get into it. Does it make sense for the Vancouver Canucks to trade with the New York Rangers and bring Mark Messier home? What? No, I mean bring Jacob Trouba to Vancouver. Who else from the Rangers could it be appealing to the Canucks, and what might be going out the door the other way? Let's get into that. We'll also touch on a bit about the Boston-Vancouver game tonight, but more specifically, do the Canucks miss Lindholm and Zadorov? That's all coming up today on Locked On Canucks. Before we do that, let me introduce my co-host, Kyle Bowen. How's it going, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Excited to get into some trade proposals with you and you and you and you. Let's let's have some fun. Let's pretend we're playing NHL 25. Before we get started on that, though, Brock Besser back in the lineup confirmed. Max Sasson, the healthy scratch. I'm a bit surprised. You know, me and Trevor went against the Surrey boy, Surrey Baines, Archduke Baines, and we thought he would be the healthy scratch. We want more from him. That all being said, again, Max Sasson is the healthy scratch. Baines is going to play some more. And Brock Besser's back, man. This is cool. This is cool. It's going to be different. I'm really excited to see Brock Besser do his thing on his own line, okay? He's playing with Bluger and Heinen. I feel as if there's a chance that we get a new version of Brock Besser. Anyways, trade proposals. Trevor Beggs. I see 3 players that could be on the move to Vancouver, okay? I actually only see 1, to be honest. That's K'Andre Miller, okay? That's the only one I'm really interested in, okay? For real. I'll take a flyer on. Why not, okay? You may have some other names, but let's start there at the top for me. If the Canucks were to trade for a struggling K'Andre Miller, what's the proposal looking like?
Oh, I mean, with K'Andre Miller, I think it's got to start with the first-round pick. But even then, a team like the New York Rangers, are they really in a window where they need to be acquiring first-round picks? Because much like the Vancouver Canucks, this is the Rangers' time to win. And you look at their cap situation, you know, they got Artemi Panarin, still one of the best players in the league, and really the only star that's met expectations so far this season. He's got 2 years left on his deal. Aside from that, you got a bit of an aging roster in terms of Mika Zibanejad at 31 years old, Chris Kreider at 33 years old, both locked up for a couple seasons beyond this year. Vincent Trocheck, after being a rock star in the playoffs last year, he has struggled this season so far. So at the top of their lineup, they got guys on the wrong side of 30. I know, Kyle, you don't like it when I say that wrong side of 30 because you and I are 31. But again, this Rangers roster, the stars have not met expectations so far. And sure, they got guys like Alexis Lafreniere, who's looked better. Capo Caco's looked better. Will Cooley, who scored a goal against the Canucks, playing well. But if your stars aren't going, you're going to be in trouble. And that's the case in New York right now. So with K'Andre Miller, man, oh man, I mean, he's got 1 year left on his deal, paying him $3.8 million per season. I struggle to see what the package looks like for the Canucks because I don't know if the Rangers want a first-round pick. And then from there, is it a guy like maybe Jonathan Lecker-Mackey that's going the other way?
What if it's like, we got Chris Kreider at $6 million. This guy's got the Cy Young, 9 goals, 1 assist, special teams player, still a good player, good leader, doing their things. But let's say it's like, we'll give you Kreider and K'Andre because that's a lot of salary going out the door. Could the Canucks and the Rangers work out something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because again, I feel as if the Rangers, their main focus in the ASAP would be to potentially get rid of some money so that they can keep one of their 13 UFAs come. Like, maybe they don't want to let go of all these guys that are off the books at the end of the season. I think they got like 13 RFAs and UFAs at the end of the year. Again, maybe that's why Chris Kreider's on the block. Maybe they're like, yo, we're going to lose out on one of our guys that we want to keep that's a lot younger because we got to still pay Chris Kreider $6 million. Or the Trouba thing does, like, I don't even want to get close to Jacob Trouba. That's like Vincent Desharnais, smaller Vincent Desharnais that can hit a couple times. You know what I'm saying? Like, this full of mistakes. I don't want that guy, but I just wonder if the Canucks kid could take on some salary and get, again, Keandre Miller is struggling a bit, but I think that's a bit of a risk I'd be willing to take. Like, does he need to change the scenery? Does he need Adam Foote? Like, how did they make a deal like that work? So, that's the type of math I'm trying to do in my head.
Yeah, Keandre Miller, again, he's only 24 years old. He's been a pretty good player up until this point. And then, like you said, struggled a bit this season. Only 1 goal, 4 points in 20 games. When I look at average game score, he's up there, or down there, I should say, with some of the worst Rangers this season. So average game score of 0.22, that is below average for sure. But if you look at the Rangers defense, the 2 guys that are worse are Jacob Trouba and Ryan Lindgren. So been struggles across the board for the Rangers, including Keandre Miller. And I know we talked about before, like, Nils Höglander, and could they be interested in him? And I think a team like the Rangers could be interested in Nils Höglander just because they got so many aging stars at the top of their lineup. And sure, they got the young guys like Lafreniere and Capo Caco, Will Cooley as well. But I think they could use an influx of a young player. But, like, is there any chance that, like, Höglander in a second gets it done for a guy like Miller? And I'm going to throw Braden Schneider into the mix as well.
Wow. Now we're just saying names. Like, there's been a lot of Rangers playoff hockey back in the day. And again, not to brush off on your point. Like, I think every proposal starts with like Nils Höglander in a 1st-round pick right now, for real. Like, that's kind of like the way it's going for the Vancouver Canucks. All in all, though, I wonder if there's a world also where the Canucks could go Nils Höglander for Ryan Lindgren. And I know Lindgren is not playing his best hockey, straight up. That being said, the Rangers have played a ton of playoff hockey back in recent history, and I feel as if that dude is just an uber competitor. You know what I'm saying? One of those guys, one of those dogs. And again, we got to throw in that equation. Like, can he play better hockey with Adam Foote? Who knows? Does he need to change the scenery? These are the things I'm thinking about.
Yeah, and again, I think it's an easy narrative to tie just because, look at the work Adam Foote did with this defense last year, right? Everyone got better under Adam Foote. And again, with the Rangers this season, Keandre Miller, he said he's in now his 5th full NHL season. And for the last 3, he's been a pretty consistent 7-8 goal, 30-point guy. So, last season he has 8 goals, 22 assists, 30 points. His average over the last 3 seasons has been 8 goals, 23 assists, and 31 points. So again, he's been a really valuable young top 4 left shot defenseman for the Rangers. He's got size as well at 6'5", 215. Oh, baby. So again, Keandre Miller is an interesting ad, but I think a 1st in Höglander is too rich for Keandre Miller.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if a 1st or a 2nd in Nils Höglander gets it done. So I don't know if you're looking in Jonathan Lecker-Mackey territory. And at that point, I wonder if the Canucks just kind of steer away from this.
Of course they do. Of course they do. How about 26-year-old Ryan Lindgren? Are you off of him? Like, what? I know the fancy stats don't like this guy right now based on what I'm saying. Like, is there a 1-for-1 Höglander for Lindgren? Like, change of pace? Like, I don't know if they're going to be able to keep Lindgren. He's a UFA at the end of the year. I think it's important for a team like the Rangers, and this is why they're in this trade market, right? Like, they don't want to fully commit to just going all in to April and May with an inconsistent team when they could use this time to recoup assets and do, still make the playoffs and still have a chance with Shesterkin. You know what I'm saying? So, like, a guy like Ryan Lindgren, if you're not going to extend this guy, they're going to trade him ASAP. And I know he's left-handed and maybe doesn't fit the bill, but does he supply the depth that the Canucks kind of need?
Yeah, I mean, potentially. The thing that worries me about Ryan Lindgren, I think I need to dig into this a bit more, is that he's spent the majority of his career playing alongside Adam Fox, I should say. Adam Fox. There you go. But he's been just a sturdy rock. I mean, it's funny because you look at Hronek and Hughes, and Hronek's definitely got more offensive pop to his game than Ryan Lindgren. And Ryan Lindgren is not an offensive guy. But again, he's making $4.5 million. He's UFA at the end of the season. I think that can make some sense, a Höglander for Lindgren swap. But I do think that the Rangers probably want the Canucks to add to that because, look, Nils Höglander sure he had a great season last year. I think so, right? Look at
Höglander's so bad right now.
He's got 0 points in his last 9 games, no goals in 15. He's playing on the fourth line right now. Well, Ryan Lindgren is still a top 4 defenseman for the New York Rangers. So, I think the Canucks probably got to add on Lindgren. But Kyle, maybe let's go bigger picture for a second, maybe before we cut to break and talk about this a bit more. But between, I think, the 3 guys you mentioned, Ryan Lindgren, Keandre Miller, Braden Schneider, and then even throw Jacob Trouba into the mix, maybe rank them from most attractive to least attractive in terms of your targets for the Vancouver Canucks.
Damn, look, Trouba's last. Like, nobody's gonna trade for Trouba. Like, that's a pipe dream. They're gonna have to buy him out, in my opinion. Nobody's taking on that contract.
I mentioned this in the summer, but I think if the Rangers were to retain half, like, so Trouba's making $8 million, all of a sudden you get Trouba for $4 million. I think that's a conversation.
It's a conversation, but I'm telling you, I don't know how much better the Canucks get by bringing in Trouba and asking this guy to play 20 minutes a game. Like, I think that guy's trash right now. Like, you just can't, dude, you need to play this guy maybe like 12 or 13 or 14 minutes a game. Like, let him do his thing. More responsibility is bad for that guy. I think I would go, honestly, again, I don't know what the fantasy stats are saying. I'm just looking at the player type and like a dog that I would like to have on the Vancouver Canucks. And he's not the tallest guy, but I think I would put Lindgren number 1, to be honest. Wow. Like, I feel like the acquisition cost wouldn't be that much too if he is struggling. Okay, the other 2 guys, like, Schneider's still pretty young. Keandre Miller, I'd put him at number 2. Schneider at number 3. Like, it would be a more unique acquisition cost. Like, maybe you can get Höglander, Schneider. Like, some will get that deal going, which I doubt. But yeah, I still have Lindgren number 1. So something just tells me he might be a Canuck. No, like the whole Brandstrom experiment with the Canucks having a shorter defenseman like play prominent minutes, and like, I know it's only the playoffs, right? It's only the regular season, like game 19, game 20, the regular season. That you still may want your tall trees to play all the defensive hockey for you down the road in April and May. And I'm talking from Tocchet's perspective, but maybe like the Brandstrom thing has tickled the fancy of Adam Foote and Rick Tocchet in the other way, where it's like, okay, maybe we don't need to have all these tall mother play on our team,
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think the healthy balance worked, and the strategy worked for the Canucks last season. I think it can work, but you got to have the right guys in place. And Tyler Myers, Vinny D, and right now Carson Soucy, they ain't the guys. So I'm going to give you my list in terms of most least attractive. I think number 1 is Keandre Miller, like you mentioned, Kyle. Obviously a bit of a rough start to this season, but he's still going up against top competition on a nightly basis.
He's good.
And I believe in the player profile. I mean, this guy had 40 points 2 seasons ago, 8 goals and 30 points last year, was really good in the playoffs for the Rangers. He's number 1 to me. Number 2 is Braden Schneider. I think Braden Schneider, the knock to me on him is that he's a third pairing guy that faces weak competition, but he's gotten better and better every season. He's big, he's physical, he's a right shot. So Braden Schneider me is second. Then I would go Ryan Lindgren, and then last Jacob Trouba. I mean, yeah, it's the Rangers would have to retain half the salary, and the Canucks would have to give up a lot. That's the only way I'd be interested in Jacob Trouba. Kyle, I'm interested in breaking this down more on the other side. Are there any targets for at the Rangers among forwards or prospects, or maybe we'll go even bigger picture here? And let's also touch on Lindholm and Zadorov on the other side as the Canucks face them for the first time this season. That's coming up. Again, you're listening to Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every damn day. We'll be back after we shout out our friends over at PrizePicks. You know the deal, baby. If you're playing daily fantasy sports, you got to go check out PrizePicks, okay? They are the best place to get real money sports action, baby. Boom, bam. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just got to pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. So run your game all season long on PrizePicks, baby. And again, right now on PrizePicks, again, you can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks when you pick more or less on at least 2 players. That's all you got to do. Unbelievable. And when you sign up on PrizePicks today, you'll get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed, baby. just like Kiefer Sherwood is guaranteed to hit the over on hits, maybe even the overs on goals, assists, and points. Man, oh man, just bet the over on Kiefer Sherwood and boom, bam, get some money in your pocket. All right. So make sure you go download that PrizePick app today. Use code LOCKEDONNHL and get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's time to run your game.
Shout out to PrizePicks. We back doing this. Kyle Bound, Trevor Beggs, Locked On Canucks, 10 o'clock in the morning. Early risers, 31-and-a-half-year-olds, being men, want to take our woman to Nelly Furtado concert in a couple months. Since that's the case, if you're watching this right now and enjoying the episode, The Banter, hit the like button. And you know what? I think you're going to hit the like button in 10 minutes because I'm about to go off, okay? I'm about to go off. Got to do it. And I want to be nice. You know, Besser's coming back. Demko may be coming back soon. Patrick Alvin talking about how he's actually made bigger strides than he thought he would. Demko, that is, based on where he was in training camp. Like, okay, cool, great, phenomenal, good stuff. But I'm also hearing that the Spittin' Chicklets podcast is talking about what, JT Miller being on the trading block. I haven't listened to the episode, but I'm on Twitter right now, and Biz Nasty bringing up Miller in a possible trade. What's going on, man? These guys do not watch Canucks games, man. I know Biz Nasty's been watching more Sherwood recently, but I still think that the league does not understand how important JT Miller is to the fabric of this team. They probably still think he's a bit of a power play merchant. He's getting points here and there. He's not that guy. He's got an attitude problem, all these things. And it's like, okay, they're going to trade him. Are you kidding me? Dude, JT Miller is a dog. He's a Vancouver Canuck for life. It's over. These people in the East who don't watch the Canucks and just bring up BS to, I don't even want to say raise their clicks. It's not even about that. I actually think they're just stupid enough to think these things are true. And it's like, yo, you don't even appreciate, like, again, the importance of that guy. When JT Miller's on, and we saw it in spurts in the playoffs as well, the dude's an absolute outlier. In fact, I know if Pettersson had his game last year, JT Miller would look way better in the playoffs, even though he was already being a superstar at multiple points. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And, like, come on, he's going through personal reasons, like why he's not in the lineup. We don't know the details. There's a 0% chance it's because he wants out of Vancouver, and there's people out here talking about, maybe he's gonna get traded. F out of here, man.
Yeah, I think those the rumors that came out of Spittin' Chicklets pods are something that's going to infuriate Canucks fans. And look, for the most part, it's all hearsay, right? I mean, I think I saw one of the references is that he doesn't get along with Elias Pettersson, and that's something that has been a muted topic conversation of this market for quite some time, right? But you think that two professionals should be able to get along. Like, are they that different that JT Miller has to request a trade? And I mean, yeah, I'm not sure exactly what to say about it, although that it's probably unfounded, right? JT Miller's signed to be here long term. He said nothing but golden things about the city of Vancouver, and him and Pettersson have been teammates for a long time now. I mean, if there was a rift, you think
there's no rift. There's no rift, bro. Know what there is?
In fairness, devil's advocate here, we don't know that for sure.
But I don't think there's a rift. I think there's camaraderie there. Like it's a hockey team. Not everyone has to be best friends and hanging out with each other after the game. Dude, like the fact that, look at this, the Canucks are not getting rid of JT Miller. You can give JT Miller some of the most credit when it comes to Elias Pettersson finding his game again, because who's the one that held him accountable in practice? It was JT Miller. Miller's that dog, bro. You know who appreciates that type of attitude coming from Miller? Not just talking. You know who else does? It's Pettersson. You need to have homies around you like that tell you to get your shit together. JT Miller is one of those guys. There's no way he's getting traded. And just to bring it up, and like what moments after Miller talks about, Miller's on a personal leave and whatnot, it just sounds like immature. And I know Biz Nasty just got jumped by like 7 people, and like I'm glad he's doing well, but maybe he's concussed or something, because that's one of the stupidest things I've heard in quite some time, man, for real.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. It's a little disrespectful to JT Miller to
Dude,
start.
It's so disrespectful. It's so noisy. It's like, get the out of here, man. Like, it's not even worth it.
And I just honestly, I just hope it's not true. I don't believe it's true, but I certainly hope it's not true because we all know how much fun, Miller is in Vancouver. And Courageous makes a great point in the comments here. Malkin and Kessler used to fight all the time. They won cups together. And you know who was
Yeah.
behind the bench helping them figure it out was Rick Mother effing Tocchet.
Exactly.
So I think if there's a place for JT Miller to be, it's here in Vancouver. And I mean, come on, for all the noise about Pettersson and Miller not getting along, bro, they both had good seasons last year. I know Pettersson tailed off, but Pettersson had 89 points. Miller had 103 points. They weren't clicking necessarily in the playoffs together, but I think that people on the outside, and that includes, businessmen chicklets for as much as people adore them or hate them for that matter. You pick up on like one riff in practice where they're going at it. And at the time, all the ex-pros are saying like that happens in practice. It's not a big deal. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, maybe it is a big deal. He's asking for a trade. It's like, put two and two together. It doesn't really make a ton of sense.
It's stupid, man. Okay. Like it's a rift. If it's a rift or some beef or like we don't see eye to eye, that's one thing. But if that's the case, and Miller's like, you know what, I'm gonna stay for 8 years or 7 years, whatever the amount was, and then Patterson's like, oh, Miller signed for 7 years. I hate this guy. I hate playing hockey with this guy. I'm gonna sign for 8 years too. It's manageable. They got this. It's all good, and it's not big enough of a quote unquote rift for one to ask for a trade. Like these guys are dogs. These guys are Canucks, man. Like I'm telling you, look at how Besser works his way back from a concussion. I'm not saying he's coming back early. I'm just saying that it was killing him that he was missing playing hockey with the boys in blue and green. It's killing JT Miller right now too. I know he's got to deal with the stuff and take all the time in the world. You can come back next year. Who cares? One love to you. Do you? Okay. Look at Demko though, doing whatever it takes to come back ASAP for the blue and green. These guys love playing for the Canucks. They love playing for Tocchet. They love playing for Albion and Rutherford. We only know this though on the West Coast. The PST. These mother effers in the East, bro. I'm telling you, they just stupid, bro. I'm telling you, remember when they thought, well, some people on there, or maybe one person, the guy from Vancouver, ironically, was like, oh, JT Miller's a power play merchant. That's when we shouldn't have taken any Vancouver Canucks content from them. And I know we're doing it right now, but I'm just doing it because I feel like I'm personally attacked based on me having Miller's back right now. Like, leave JT alone, man. Straight up. It's like uncalled for. Spend more hours talking about the Rangers trading Chris Kreider or something. This one's just uncalled for and so stupid, man.
Yeah, let's table the JT trade talk there because I got other things in my mind, but like people alluded to, the guy's on personal leave trying to figure things out in his life. Let's give the guy some grace and leave him alone. And let's switch gears to talking about a couple players who actually did leave Vancouver: Elias Lindholm and Nikita Zadorov. We've touched on it before, but do the Canucks miss those guys regardless of their subpar starts in Boston? Let's talk about that and the game ahead on the other side after we showed our friends over at FanDuel. You know the deal, baby. If you're betting on sports, the place you gotta go is FanDuel. They are America's #1 sports book because right now new customers can get $5 can bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. And if you think the Vancouver Canucks can go into Boston, the home of Connor Garland, baby, Massachusetts native, and beat the Boston Bruins, go place that bet on FanDuel. They are underdogs right now against Boston tonight at the TD Gardens, okay? So go to FanDuel.com and get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Okay, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks, Kyle Bauer, Trevor Beggs. One love to JT Miller, for real. The Canucks in Boston tonight, which is making Trevor Beggs think a lot about the big D. I mean, the big Z, right? Straight up. And also talking about Elias Lindholm, who I want to go back on that just a bit, for real, because it was like, maybe like the middle of June, early June, where I was like, yo, the Canucks have to sign Lindholm. They got to do it. They got to give this guy the money. They got to do it. This guy's got to be ahead of Joshua, ahead of everyone on the list. They got to do it. And why did I say that? Because I enjoyed his playoff game. I really did. I thought game in and game out in April and May. This guy was a hard worker. He was laying the boom. He was hard to play against. Oh, who thought he was hard to play against? It was the Edmonton Oilers. They were ecstatic that Lindholm left the division. I was like, okay, we need a guy like that. That guy's a playoff player. All that being said, I'm so happy that Alvin and Rutherford didn't listen to us, man. Straight up. So happy.
Yeah, I mean, here's the way I've kind of phrased it in my head. I mean, the Canucks, they let Lindholm go. He signs for 7.75 over a number of years over in Boston. The Canucks signed Jake DeBrusk for $5.5 million, and then Den Heinen for 2.25. Right. So for Lindholm, it's would you rather have Lindholm or would you rather have DeBrusk and Heinen? In my eyes,
Damn.
still throw it on the team, but I think that's an interesting way to frame it. And then on the defense side. Zadorov's getting paid, what is it, $5 million a season for the next 6 years? So for me, it's would you rather have Zadorov or would you rather have Myers and Desharnais?
That's the way it is, man. I mean, I'm thinking more about the Zadorov thing for Myers and Desharnais for sure. And we talked about that in July. Like that just, for all the talk about, oh, you can't sign Zadorov for that much because he's only good for 2 months. For all that talk, like, well, we should have this same conversation about like, oh, maybe you shouldn't extend Tyler Myers for 3 years and put all the responsibility on him based on the fact that he had 60 good games. You could use that argument. And, the Canucks are like, they're being burned right now to an extent. I know we just beat Ottawa and like the 5D really did their thing. And I hope they can continue to do it against the lowest scoring team in the league, the Boston Bruins, right? All that being said, I'm still concerned about this team playing good teams with Soucy and Myers more specifically playing a lot of minutes. And that's what they banked on, right? They banked on him being that guy, him being sturdy for a couple more years, being right-handed. All that being said, I would strongly consider, again, going back in time and not signing Desharnais and Myers and just keeping Zadorov because, for all of Zadorov's struggles in Boston right now, I think he's getting paid. He's getting paid like he's a top 4 defenseman. And, should have been, slotted in with McAvoy. But I'm pretty sure this guy's playing like similar minutes. Not similar minutes, but he's not playing with McAvoy. Like he's playing down the lineup and whatnot. All that being said, I think there was like a 30% chance, a 40% chance. Okay, more of a chance for him to stack a good year on top of what he did last year than Myers, right? Again, speaking about Zadorov now, because of the momentum that he had, the relationship he had with the fans. I feel like connecting those two things to Zadorov's game would have allowed him to be more consistent because I feel as if he feeds off of that type of energy, like being the guy, being the man.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was just such a seamless fit in Vancouver. And, on the surface, it's like, oh, yeah, Boston loves their big, tough, physical guys. Like, he's going to do fine there. And, yeah, it hasn't worked out so far. He was playing with McAvoy early on, but over the past handful of games, it's been Nikita Zadorov and Andrew Peeke, former trade target for the Vancouver Canucks. So, I mean, look, it's obviously not an ideal situation for Nikita Zadorov right now. He is averaging the 3rd most minutes on the Boston Blue Line. He's actually 2nd right now if you include the fact that Hampus Lindholm is injured. He was 2nd on the Bruins among ice time, but I mean, look, Zadorov has no goals, 5 assists through 20 games. He leads the team in minor penalties. He leads the team in penalty minutes. It's been a shaky start, and this is a Boston team, like you alluded to, Kyle, that can score goals. I mean, hell, you look at their roster right now. Elias Lindholm is 3rd on the team with 10 points in 22 games.
Holy!
I mean, like,
holy!
It's a sad time in Boston. The guy finally busted his goalless drought. 5 games going against Utah, but he's got 3 goals in 22 games this season, and what is that? Would be 1 goal in his last 18 games, I believe. So I mean, look, both players were good fits. I do wonder. I've thought more about like DeBrusk and Heinen versus Lindholm because of the versatility Lindholm brings, the penalty killing he brings. But at the end of the day, the Canucks are in a good spot up front, so you don't think about Lindholm as much. But defensively is where you think about it a bit more. And I know probably didn't deserve that contract. Didn't deserve that term, but in the here and now, he would be much better. The team would be in a better place if they had Zadorov and not Myers and Desharnais.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, I mean, I think I know DeBrusk is pretty good defensively and whatnot, but all in all, I mean, you see the way the Canucks have looked this year defensively and how it's been a step back. I mean, you can give a lot of that credit to not having not only Zadorov but Lindholm as well, because he was strong, man. Offensively, he was it's pretty clear that he's like slowing down, real talk. All that being said, I do still believe in the playoffs. Like something happens to that guy and he just steps up a little because we
Yeah.
saw this guy play big boy hockey and it was exciting. Like he was strong in the playoffs. But at the end of the day, like it's just too much money for that guy, too much money for both guys more specifically. And we just got to hope that, we won this quote unquote transaction. And more specifically, we just got to hope that, again, DeBrusk shows up tonight. Like he's back in Boston, polarizing player in Boston, very inconsistent in the regular season when it came to again, his relationship with the fans. Look at us already, 20 games into the season. Like we want more from DeBrusk. Like it's not a game by game thing with this guy. That all being said, I'll say it again, without JT Miller, we need this guy helping us pick up points here. And Trevor brought up this whole thing, and it's kind of scary. And I know we're going to have to end the episode off pretty soon here. And maybe you can just touch on this a little bit before you ramble into the outro. But, like there's a good chance that the Canucks are not in a playoff spot going into Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving. That's like the little cliche, the haiku. I think that's a haiku, right? In the world of metaphors and whatnot. Anyways, we're not there, and I need Jake DeBrusk to help us win a couple games here and just pat some points and give this team some confidence without JT Miller.
I mean, he's done well the last couple of games, right? And we mentioned in our GOAT rankings yesterday, I mean, DeBrusk, Sherwood, and Pettersson were the 3 best Canucks this week. And, Jake DeBrusk, he's kind of done exactly what you expected of him, right? In the sense that he is an inconsistent player. He's been inconsistent here in Vancouver. But that being said, like in the here and now, he's been, he's looked really strong alongside Elias Pettersson. So, look, I've thought more about the Thanksgiving topic, and I mean, I think something to touch on later this week, especially if the Canucks don't win these next 2 games against the lowly Boston Bruins and the bottom feeder Pittsburgh Penguins. But in terms of points percentage right now, they'd be in a wild card spot, and the Canucks have dealt with a lot of adversity early on, and they're still have a 10-6-3 record despite all that they've gone through. It's not a bad spot, and I think about our friends over at Ottawa and Locked On Sens who would kill for a 10-6-3 record right now. Me and Kyle, man, we kill for this show. We love doing this show. So shout out to you and you for making it happen. Okay, whether you're an everyday or an occasional listener, first time listener, new subscriber, or you join us on the live show on YouTube. If you like what we're doing, make sure you go subscribe and like this video on the YouTube side. And on the podcast side, oh baby, go follow us and leave a 5-star review. Seeing more of those 5-star reviews trickle in, we appreciate the hell out of you for doing that. Hey, if you're interested in some Canucks merchandise, Kyle's been making shirts. Hate's a strong word, but F the Oilers. That's my favorite one. I'm putting that in my kid's stocking. The link is in the bio for that. Not affiliated with Locked On. And Kyle, I might not be able to join the post-game show tonight because it's an early one and I got to take care of kids, but I know I'll be back with you here tomorrow on Hump Day as we get prepared to face the flightless birds. Kyle, anything to say before we say peace?
Post-game show after the game tonight. Let's keep talking about the Canucks. One love to you and you and you and you and you and you. Begsy, go be the best dad in the world. If you can make it, you can make it. If you can, it's all good because, again, man, family first, man. Oh, want me to press the button? Okay.